Ah, Japan. The land of the rising sun, the nation of samurai, sushi, and Shinkansen. A place with a history so rich, it's like a never-ending buffet of feudal conflicts, art, and questionable corporate mascots. Let's rewind the tapes and take a journey, shall we? Japan's history is basically like one big epic anime. Picture this. In ancient times, Japan was just a bunch of clans duking it out. No different than the plot of Naruto, honestly. Then along came the Yamato clan, claiming the title of imperial rulers, and boom! Suddenly we've got a monarchy that's still standing to this very day. In the 8th century, Japan borrowed heavily from China, like a college student ripping notes the night before an exam. Buddhism? Check. Writing system? Double check. And, of course, bureaucracy. Everyone's favorite system of managing, well, everything inefficiently. Fast forward a bit, and you've got the period. A time of poetry, art, and probably way too many tea ceremonies. Think of it as the chill era before the chaos of the samurai era kicked in. The Kamakura shogunate comes along. Because what's cooler than warrior governments, am I right? Samurai, who I must point out, were the original influencers before influencers were a thing. They had their own code, Bushido, like a medieval TikTok challenge, except instead of dancing, you had to behead someone with honor. Jump to the 19th century. Commodore Perry shows up in Tokyo Bay, basically saying, "Hey, open up, we got steamships and colonial vibes." Japan had no choice but to modernize faster than your iPhone's yearly upgrade cycle. Thus began the Meiji Restoration, a full-on glow-up where Japan ditched the samurai top-knots for Western suits and industrialization. Suddenly they were an empire, taking on Russia, China, and yes, eventually the entire Pacific in World War II. Speaking of which, World War II? Not Japan's finest hour, but hey, we all make mistakes, like when you accidentally hit reply all on a work email. Except, with bombs and battleships. Afterward, Japan rebuilt itself into an economic superpower, like that guy who starts as a barista and becomes CEO in 5 years. But enough about history. Let's talk about Logan Paul. You remember him, right? YouTube's golden boy turned... where do I even begin? Let me take you back to the year 2018. Logan Paul, content creator, social media star, and walking human loudspeaker, decided to grace Japan with his presence. Now, Japan, as you know, is known for its rich culture, respectful traditions, and... Did I mention respect? Yeah, apparently Logan missed that memo when he packed his bags full of cringe and disrespected an entire nation. Everything seemed like typical YouTuber fare until... Drumroll, please. He went to the suicide forest. Let me just say, there's dark humor, and then there's whatever that was. An insensitive dumpster fire wrapped in neon green alien hats and bad judgment. In what might be the single worst decision in vlogging history, he thought it'd be a good idea to film a victim of suicide. And not just film, but upload it as if it were some clickbait spectacle. What followed was a global backlash, and for good reason. Everyone from the general public to fellow YouTubers to his own fans slammed him for his utter lack of empathy, maturity, and human decency. It was like the internet collectively asked, "Dude, what were you thinking?" Let's break it down. 1. You're in Japan, a country where people value respect and honor above all else. 2. You're in a forest known for tragedy. It's not a tourist destination for cheap thrills, but a place where lives end. 3. You filmed it, with your whole team around. And then you uploaded it. It wasn't a mistake. It was a deliberate series of conscious choices, each one worse than the last. But oh no, that wasn't even the end of it. The backlash came in like a tsunami. Sponsors dropped him like hot wasabi. YouTube demonetized his channel faster than I can say, algorithm. And suddenly, Logan Paul wasn't just a YouTuber, he was the YouTuber you didn't want to be associated with. And yet, redemption. Because in the era of the internet, no one stays canceled forever. Logan Paul did what all good public figures do after a PR disaster. He laid low for a bit, posted an apology video that sounded suspiciously like it was crafted by a team of PR experts, and then rebranded. Fast forward a few years, and Logan Paul reemerges, this time as a boxer, podcast host, and someone who actually seems to be trying to better himself. I'll give him that. He turned his career around. But then, it gets weirder. In 2024, after Donald Trump survives an assassination attempt, and let me remind you, this is real life, not some conspiracy forum, Logan Paul publicly backs Trump. I mean, sure, why not, right? The guy goes from disrespecting an entire country to suddenly becoming a spokesperson for redemption arcs and backing a former president in the wake of, well, chaos. And look, I gotta say this. Logan Paul endorsing Trump took guts. It's no secret that all his friends, his bubble, and the entire influencer sphere he operates in is probably anti-Trump. He knew he'd catch heat for it, but hey, he jumped into the political ring anyway. Now that's a plot twist I didn't see coming. Let's pause for a second and take stock. This man went from disrespecting cultural sites to political endorsements. What a world we live in. Like, really, folks? The same Logan Paul who wore Pikachu onesies in Japan's sacred temples is now playing political analyst? What's next, Logan Paul as Secretary of State? But you know what? Maybe this is the future. The age where influencers transcend their platforms to become global thought leaders. Maybe Logan Paul's redemption story is actually about the capacity of humans to forgive, to evolve, and to back brave political figures after they've dodged assassination attempts. Maybe Logan Paul is the one to lead us into paradise, not Paul Atreides. So, what's the moral here? History repeats itself, and in Logan Paul's case, it's just one chaotic misstep after another, wrapped in redemption and sprinkled with a dash of political endorsement. Maybe next, he'll run for president. Wouldn't that just be the cherry on top of this bizarre timeline? And you thought Japan's history was complicated.